And we're live, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Salem, and I'm here to talk to SkeletalK, a painterly stylistic artist. How you doing, Skelly?
I'm good, thank you.
All right. So, just before we begin, just want to be sure that whoever is listening to the broadcast, make sure that you tell us if you can hear us good or not, so that we can adjust our mics and headsets. But while we're waiting for that, Skelly, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, so I've been drawing as long as I could pick up a pencil, really. But I graduated from uni last year, which I did concept art in. And now I'm kind of a freelance artist at the minute, so I'm working on 2 games, but then I've got commissions on the side and things like that. So yeah.
Omen says she's always pronounced it SkeletalK.
Yeah, I get that a lot. It's just it's quite cringy, but it's like SkeletalK, so that's a K on the end. Yeah.
Right. Well, so you said you've been drawing ever since you could pick up a pencil. How did you begin drawing? Like, what were the very first things that you liked to draw?
Actually, I can remember this pretty well. Like, I don't remember drawing a lot as a child, but my mum told me that I like drew and was just creative at any time I could, really. But I specifically remember how I became how I wanted it to be my main thing in life. And it started with anime, which I think a lot of people can probably relate with. I think I was in high school. We call it upper school here. So I did start fairly late when I found it, and I don't know if you used MSN. Did you have that when I was younger?
NSN,
MSN.
Not sure if I'm familiar with it.
Oh, it's like I don't know, I guess like Discord in a way. I used it when I was younger. It was just
MSN,
yeah.
Messengers, correct?
Yeah, that's it.
Oh, okay.
I don't think it exists anymore. But yeah, I use that, and obviously you can set like a profile picture, and someone set like, you get those really that like anime from like 2009 or whatever that's like really pretty, and like no one knew the artist, they just kind of existed, and I don't know. If I saw the piece, I would probably recognize it. But someone I went to school with had that as their profile picture, and I don't know, like I didn't know what it was called. So I asked her what it was, and then from there I just literally was obsessed with it. Because the only other because I was obsessed with Pokemon since I was a kid. But I didn't know it was anime. I just thought it was just a cartoon. And that was the only real influence of anime I'd had it before then. And then since then, I was just obsessed with it, and I was drawing constantly. So yeah.
Now, you said you were a little obsessed with Pokemon. Do you think that the obsession bled into some of your stylistic choices down the road?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, Pokemon was probably the thing that got me into gaming as well, because none of my family are really into gaming, apart from my old stepdad, who I played like Final Fantasy with and stuff like that. But Pokemon, because I had a friend when I was in, like, I guess you call it kindergarten. It's called lower school for us. I had a friend there, and he had Pokemon Yellow, and that's one of my most favorite games ever. I just loved it so much, and yeah, since then I think that Pokemon definitely, I don't know if it inspired my art per se, but it inspired me to look into other forms of anime, I guess. Yeah.
And we'll go a little deeper into the influences and inspirations later on. But for now, let's go ahead and look at your art style as a whole, because you have a very unique style. It seems that it's definitely manga / anime inspired.
Mm.
but but what makes your artwork very unique is like the painterly style and especially the coloration. So why don't you tell us a little bit about how you came to your art style?
Yeah. Um, it's probably not what people want to hear, but I think it's my painterly style stems from the fact that I hate drawing line art and I'm very lazy about it. I just don't enjoy line art at all. When I start a sketch, I just want to get straight into painting. I've always just loved painting and making texture in a piece, and I really just cannot be bothered with lines most of the time. And I think I've actually gotten worse because my process for painting now is literally just I will make a sketch and I will start color immediately because I really can't be bothered to neaten up the lines. And I don't even have a line art stage, and because I will just do the sketch and I will use that sketch and clean it up rather than actual making the lines neater or anything. Yeah, that's just how I've always been, I think.
Now, now you bring up something interesting because a lot of people, especially, I mean, a lot of artists, they they rely on a lot of them will say like the line art is not their favorite part, but
Mm.
you do hear that as like a necessary step in the process. So, can you explain how you use just rough sketches and how they turn into the very detailed and intricate pieces that you make at the end of it?
Yeah, I think it's been a gradual thing to go into that, I would say, because I did start off with for the most of the time I would have done a really really neat sketch rather than it actually being line art, and then gone from there. And now it's just evolved into me heavily making the rendering part the biggest part of my, I guess, process. So what I mean by that is it's very much layering and layering and layering detail onto it and just painting into it, kind of like a sculpture, I guess. That's Yeah, I'd say that's probably how I work now, because this is fairly like a fairly new process of mine, I would say too. Because if you look back at my work, I do have some very thick lines and things, but most of the time they would have just been painted in afterwards anyway. So I would have the sketch and then the colors and everything, and then kind of redo the lines on the top. But now I kind of carve the lines in, if that makes sense. So yeah.
So, with the unique style that you've got with this painterly look and with your process, which pretty much essentially sort of skips over the line art, what could you name the positive and negative aspects to doing the style as you approach it?
Uh yeah, I think it takes longer because it it's just I run out of patience and I want to get onto painting straight away. So rendering has always been the longest part for me as it is. So in the end, it does take longer, um, but I just think it looks a lot more, I would say, expressive and a lot more just interesting to look at with less lines for me, because that's another one of my biggest problems is I over detail things too much. Like it's very difficult to me to just stop because I end up ruining pieces when I over detail it. And that I think that's always something I'm going to have a challenge with, and that doesn't really bother me at all. But this kind of enables me to have more control over how much work I'm putting into a piece, because I'm not relying so much on lines and things like that. So yeah.
And with since you don't have to rely on lines, where is it that you address most of your time to? Like when you are making a new piece, what is the aspect of your process that you have to make sure that you buckle down and pay deep attention to?
Um, yeah, my first thought would be rendering, but that's probably not the case at all. It is, I would definitely say, the sketch, because a lot of artists will tell you if you can't nail that sketch, you're not happy with that sketch by the time that you've moved on to line art or painting, it's not going to work out. You're going to have to start again. So, and I think that's probably more so an anatomy thing. Like if you can't get the anatomy right on a sketch, you're not gonna fix it on painting. You're just not. You're gonna have to make sure that you've got a very good sketch to work with so you can build on top of that.
All right. And since we're talking about your painterly style, something else that I've seen quite a few people, including myself, really compliment you on is the coloration of the pieces. Can you explain what the coloring process is like? Because it seems that whatever you make, you have a very, very natural talent for blending so many different shades of colors together and some of the same exact color, and yet each of them pops out.
Ah, thank you. I don't really know how I do that, if I'm honest. Because if I'm honest, it's kind of accidental. Like I've always found that shading with more than one color ends up looking better anyway. So, for example, if I'm doing something blue, which I always am, I don't like to shade it with just blue because it just looks really flat to me. So I will tend to add like purple in there, and then maybe do like yellow highlights or something like that. Well, maybe not yellow, but yeah, I like to shade with a different color because I just think it looks better. I'm not sure. And then I think that's quite a normal thing for artists to do, but I think maybe I go a bit overboard on that, and that's what makes it kind of look as unique as it does, I guess. But yeah.
Perhaps a bit of a side tangent, but I am nonetheless curious because you do go on about how much you love the color blue. Is there a reason for it?
I don't know, to be honest. When I was growing up, I actually preferred purple. Um, but yeah, I don't know. I've always liked blue. I think because I kind of have an obsession with like the element water as well, and I think it's like such a sad but emotive color. I think it's just so nice to look at. And you can use blue in so many different ways as well. Like every single color usually has a meaning attached to it, and I always use color meanings in my art because I just enjoy it so much. But for some reason, blue has just always felt, I don't know, I think it is definitely my favorite color to use by far, but I could also say that about purple too. But blue just definitely has always made me, it's just always felt very me, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, I've got a soft spot for the color purple as well. I've
Mm.
always been a maroon and purple kind of guy.
Mm.
Um, but okay, so we talked about the color you like. Now, I gotta understand this because I've seen a couple other people mention this before. What is with your disdain for the color yellow?
Yeah, I don't know, to be honest. I This is very very weird because I really like a pastel yellow, and I love using the color gold. And I really like the colors blue and yellow together, which I guess is quite weird as well. But for some reason, I just hate the color yellow. I don't know why. I just find it very ugly, especially if it's like green tinted yellow as well. Which is weird because I tend to use that color quite a bit as well. But yellow, I just find it really ugly.
Hashtag cancel yellow.
Yeah.
Okay. So when we're talking about colors, is there like a process that you have to go through when determining which color is going to be uh, the appropriate one to use for your pieces?
I'm gonna say no because, or if it's a commission or something, then I'll kind of already have the color set out for me. But when I do a piece, the colors always change. Like they won't be the same from when I started, because I'll do lots of different layers with different colors, and then I will go back and forth between them. And because I don't know, I think it's a learning curve, I guess, because I'm just figuring out which color is going to work best with like the shapes and things like that. But yeah, I don't really have a process for it because it's just figuring out problem solving with colors. I always look at colors like problem solving. I think like figuring out what works best. But it won't. It will always start with something different all the time.
All right. We've talked about the style that you use in the colorations and such, but let's move focus a little bit towards the things that you draw. Because what are the things you like to draw? Do you like to draw more characters, items, you know, and what kind of characters or items do you like to draw?
Yeah, so I've always thought that characters were probably my favorite thing to draw, but last year when I did my final university project, I did a lot of designing props and things, and I did not expect to love it so much. And for my work now, I do 2D assets too, and I just love it so much, and I have no idea why. I think with characters, it's pretty. You can probably understand a bit more why it's fun to design a character. As a writer, you probably enjoy creating a character and their backstory and things. So I don't know why I enjoy drawing props so much. But with characters, yeah, I just love drawing them both. With types of characters that I like drawing, it's always going to be fantasy by far. Like I think probably. I mean, that's a whole other thing I could talk about why I'm so obsessed with fantasy, but yeah, and why I don't really like sci-fi.
We will get into it when we talk about the things you like. But now you say that you are into fantasy. Can you tell us perhaps what kind of fantasy characters and items and such you like to draw? Because I mean, and of course we're gonna have to come across your online persona at some point.
So yeah, I mean, I would say dark fantasy stuff I really enjoy that. And I think, well, I was thinking about the other day what could have inspired my love of fantasy, and I definitely know that it's Jim Henson's Labyrinth, the film, because I watched that when I was so young. And there's a couple of other films like Bedknobs and Broomsticks. That's a very British film. I don't know if you know that. And then there's Dark Crystal. Throughout my childhood, there was a lot of like dark fantasy films, Pan's Labyrinth, that I like watched, and there was this fairy film as well. What was it called? I think it was called like Fairy Tale or something. And my mum has always we would always go like fairy hunting and things, and she just made my childhood so magical. Like when we would go, there's like this safari park near me, and when we would drive through it, the trees were like massive, and it was just really quiet to drive through, and there was just like really eerie about it. And she would always tell us like, shh, the dinosaurs were here, you have to be quiet. And she's always done stuff like that with me and my brother. It just always made my childhood magic. Every Christmas as well, I think, well, a lot of children probably did the whole leaving out a carrot and a cookie and milk for Santa, but she would like always go above and beyond for things like that. Like she would get talcum powder and do little footprints on the floor and things like that. I think because I don't know, she just always made my childhood magical all the time. So growing up, I think I tried to look at things from a magical point of view because it's just more fun. Yeah.
Oh, most definitely. And from these fantasies, what is it that you like to draw? Like, are you like, I don't know, perhaps like into fairies, elves?
Everything, I guess. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Well, I would say everything. Yeah. I think witches are probably my favorite. Mermaids, I love mermaids. and fairies. They're probably my 3 thing. And I love elves as well, but I would say those are my top 3 favorite things.
All right. Well, we've talked about the fantasy. Let's move on to your persona. Tell us about SkeletalK.
Yeah, so she has evolved a lot, and I guess that makes sense because she is based off me. I wouldn't say that she's completely me, but she's a way of I guess me venting or me understanding myself. I think there's a lot of things I would say, but yeah, I don't really know where my obsession with skeletons came from. I just think they're really cool, and I don't think that I don't really know the connection between myself and skeletons, but yeah, because I just never see any skeleton characters, and that really confused me. Like, skeletons are so cool. You know that music video, Spooky Scary Skeletons. I remember seeing that when I was a kid, and I was just obsessed with it. I just loved it so much. It was the most fun thing ever. The guy who made that he's an absolute genius. But yeah, you never really see characters that are based on skeletons much. So yeah. And then yeah, so she started looking just pretty much just like me, but then with like half side of her was skeletal. And that actually came from when I think I was at school or something. Maybe at college, I don't know, because we have college before uni. But anyway, I drew myself for one of my projects. I drew myself as a zombie, and I was like inspired by Left 4 Dead and Killing Floor, because those 2 games were like probably my favorite when I was younger. So I loved a lot of zombie games, and then I made I based myself off that, and then I really don't know where the obsession with skeletons came from. She just evolved from that, really. And then I made her blue for whatever reason, and then glowy because that's pretty obvious, because I really love making my art glowy because I think it looks cool. So like, you could probably look at my art and you would see most of it is glowy. So yeah.
And Omen says we all have a skeleton inside of us.
That's very true.
I mean, when you think about it, it's the support system for the flesh mech suit that we all are.
Yeah.
And then Slim is asking, what's your opinion of Jack Skellington?
Yeah, I mean, who doesn't love Nightmare Before Christmas? I think I must have been so young when I watched it, because I was so obsessed with Tim Burton when I was little. I think everyone was, really. But Nightmare Before Christmas and Corpse Bride were my absolute favorites. I guess that says a lot about me, really, doesn't it? Because you can kind of see some of Tim Burton's work in my own, I would say, definitely with Corpse Bride. But yeah, I absolutely love Jack so much. I have a bag on my door of him, and I have a figurine just above me of him too. Yeah, so I love Jack.
I'm 2 steps behind you. I gotta get on that. And Alvin said Lich Princess.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love that term. That's great. Yeah, I've always seen myself as a little princess as well. I think that's probably my mum's influence, because that's very much what I was like when I was a kid. I was such a little princess. I was very cheeky and yeah, but not like spoiled or anything. Just yeah, I had a very much of an attitude. So yeah.
Alrighty. So you went into how your persona came to be. Do you want to share a little bit of the persona's lore?
Yeah, I guess I can. I haven't really done much on it, to be honest, because I'm not really much of a writer. But it's the idea of I would say, yeah, her number. Now I think about it, her number one inspiration is Black Rock Shooter, easily, and Dead Master from that. It's that whole idea of this like underworlds or overworlds, as I call it, otherworlds. Sorry, and she's just the ruler of this like plane of oblivion that's like in between time, which is probably my inspiration coming from the Elder Scrolls, because I have like this weird obsession with time not making sense and things like that. Yeah, she just kind of walks through there and is just constantly battling on her journey, but she doesn't know where she's going. But she's constantly battling things throughout it. So yeah, with her two massive skulls that are called Whisper, and I forgot what I called the other one actually, because I changed their names recently. So yeah.
Alrighty then. So why don't you tell us a little bit about what you are working on currently with your arts? Like, are you you are a commissioner and you are working on some games, as you said. Tell us a little bit about the what you use your art for.
Yeah. The two big projects, two big games I'm working on at the minute are King Under the Mountain, which is it's kind of like I would say a builder game, but you look after, like, you have these dwarves and they build up like a fortress, and I'm working on the assets for that, and I've done some textures as well. The game's not out yet, and I've made a lot of assets for it. So I've done some plants and I've done some animals and things like that. And then the other game is Hush Blossom. I don't know too much about it, but you run a lingerie store, and it's quite an adventure. It's an adventure game, so it's very fantasy, with lots of fighting as well and dungeon crawling and things. So far, I've done a logo design for that, and then I'm moving on to a window design that you'd be working at, and then the interior design and the exterior design of the building. So yeah.
And and by the way, congrats on getting these gigs with these games.
Thank you.
Tell us a little bit about your experience with commissions.
Yeah. I've literally never had a commission that I didn't like. I'm very grateful for that. I seem to always have an amazing clients as well, so I'm really, really happy about that. At the minute, I'm doing a Dunmer commission, or a Dark Elf commission, which is going really nicely. And then, oh, my screen is turned off. And then I'm not sure if I can say the other commission yet. I need to check with him. But yeah. Yeah, so I think a lot of the commissions I get are of like fantasy species and things from games as well. And I've done for some reason, I've done a lot of World of Warcraft commissions, and I think I've played the game once for about 20 minutes because I kind of, yeah, because I just can't be dealing with the subscription fee. But I would play it. But yeah, I get a lot of World of Warcraft commissions. Yeah.
Well, speaking of the pieces you've done, are there any that you would like to perhaps show us and look over?
Oh yeah, I can do that. I don't know which ones to use though. Do
Oh, you
you?
can you can just show whichever ones are on hand. We don't need to be too picky.
Mhm. Okay. Yeah, I can show
But it'd be just a good way to show people like your style and
in my process and things.
yeah.
Yeah. Let's see. I'll have a look.
Oh, and while you're looking for that, let me just tell everybody, if you have any questions for SkeletalK, why don't you drop them in the description, and I'll gather them all up, and then at a certain point in this interview, I'll ask her the questions that you guys have.
I'm not sure what I can use really. I don't know.
And it doesn't have to be recent, Katie. It can be
Okay.
from whenever.
Let's do this. Yeah, that would be good. Because I've got two. I saved. So I tend to save a lot of different versions of files because I change them so much.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'll show this one. You can open up the thing now.
Ah, okay. There we go.
So this was my mermaid piece. This is opal. You can see how much I can zoom in. Because unfortunately Twitter doesn't allow to see this kind of detail. But yeah.
Now, Twitter, for those of you who don't know, Twitter really, their format of showing images really screws over artists because it usually crops out most of the work, and then it doesn't allow you to, like Katie just said, zoom in on the images.
Yeah, so I've got a lot of. I tend to do a lot of adjustment layers on the top of things. So let's get rid of all of these. You can see how much it changes. I don't really work with this many layers anymore, but yeah. So that's probably this sketch, although I think I've got an older one. Yeah, that's the sketch. And it is just layering and layering and layering on top of things. Yeah.
Do not take this the wrong way, but your sketches can sometimes creep me out, especially with the eyes.
Yeah, I didn't give her any eyelashes to start with, because I wanted her to look really eerie looking, but she didn't turn out as creepy looking as I wanted. Unfortunately, because I was going
You
with
gotta
that.
get down into the deep depths of the ocean. That's where you'll get the creepy stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Because I was going with that really like deep mermaid, like the ones from Harry Potter, I think. But she ended up turning out really pretty. So, but I was happy with how she turned out. So it doesn't really matter, I guess. But yeah.
Yeah, sometimes you might not approve of your kids, but they turn out just right.
Yeah.
Alrighty, so are there any other pieces you would like to go over, or would you like to start talking about your influences and we'll all just start nerding out?
Yeah, I can talk about my influences. That sounds good.
All right, would you like me to diminish the screen share?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So, we're gonna get to the most obvious one.
Chronic asked
You
a
gotta tell.
question there.
I'm sorry. What was that?
Chronic asked a question.
Oh, well, I'm going to take all the questions. I'm going to save them for a little later.
Okay, that's fine.
Yep. So we got to go over the most obvious one. Tell us about your love of the Elder Scrolls.
Yeah. Okay, so I played Skyrim as my first Elder Scrolls game, which is, I don't think many people would have believed that, I think, because I'm so obsessed with Morrowind. And yeah, I didn't even know it existed until my friend Alex, he showed me it when I was in school. When it came out, because just before it came out, because he was talking to me about Oblivion, and he was saying, "Oh my god, you would love this game, Oblivion." And so I remember being obsessed with, like waiting for Skyrim to come out, because I thought, wow, Skyrim was probably my first biggest I'm not fantasy game because I played Final Fantasy before that, but Skyrim probably opened up that kind of that genre to me, I would say. So yeah, I started, and then I remember the day that it came out really well because my mum took me to PC World, which is, I don't know, I doubt America has it, on the day that it came out, and I got it, and it came with the canvas poster that's just so pretty. I have it above my desk, and they don't do those ones anymore now. They just do them on crappy paper. So yeah, and then I think I have literally got like, I think like 2,000 hours in Skyrim or something. And considering it's not my favorite Elder Scrolls game, yeah, I didn't like Oblivion very much. I think that it's got some really good quests, but I would say that it's very, I don't know, I just didn't really like it. But then
it's more of a meme than a game.
Yeah, like the potato faces really put me off as well. But I would say like the things like the Dark Brotherhood like quest line and the Thieves Guild quest line are just incredible. They're so good. But I would say that about Skyrim as well. Like like before I was like last year I was like, oh, the Dark Brotherhood quest line in Skyrim is awful. But then now I've gone back to it and like I looked at the stuff that the game doesn't explicitly tell you outright, and they put a lot of work into that quest line but they didn't show it very much. But yeah, I don't know. But Morrowind though, I could probably talk for hours about Morrowind, but there's just something about that game that's just incredible, and that definitely inspired, I guess, because just the land itself, with the giant mushrooms and things like that, and the houses of Morrowind as well. The politics of Morrowind are just so fascinating to me, and because as soon as I played Skyrim, the Dark Elves were instantly my favorite race. But I don't really know why. I just really like the look at them. And then once I looked into the lore and things, I just became obsessed with them. And the Daedra as well. I love the Daedra so much. And they're 3 good Daedra and the Tribunal. Yeah. But yeah, it's just fascinating to me how deep the lore for Morrowind is, and how much effort they put into create just that land on its own, because there's so much, every single part of Tamriel has so much lore in it that it is insane. But Morrowind is just, there's like Michael Kirkbride who worked on Morrowind, he's still creating like out of game lore for it, which isn't actually considered canon, I guess, but yeah, man, he loves that game so much.
Well, I would rather listen to him rather than Todd Howard.
Yeah, definitely. Although some of the stuff that Michael has made, it's just, you probably wish you didn't read it because it's just so fucked up.
Well, considering the story behind Molag Bal, I don't know if I could really believe and get more screwed up than that.
No, that's just scratching the surface. That's nothing. That is nothing compared to his writings.
By the way, people, I don't mean to interrupt you, Katie, but I just got to say, you think that that the lore for vampires in a lot of fantasies is screwed up? You ain't seen nothing until you see the backstory for how vampirism began in the Elder Scrolls. Let's just say it is one of the most degrading things a human being can ever go through.
Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, Katie. Go ahead.
Right. No, I was done. That's fine. Yeah. Morrowind is just incredible to me. It really is.
And let's actually attach that a little bit to your artwork, because you have drawn quite a bit of times your character that you make in your Elder Scroll games. You want to tell us a little bit about your Dark Elf character?
Yeah, well, I wish I could work on her more because I haven't worked on her as much as I wanted. I mean, I've only just given her like a proper portrait design, and she's called Kyrith, or Kyra. She does actually stem from my first ever OC that I ever designed. Like, this is way before I even played Skyrim. I had a character called Kyra. She was my first character, and I think she was inspired by Kingdom Hearts or something. To be honest, I don't know. But yeah, so Kyrith is of House Telvanni from Morrowind, and she was originally a Kai'Ma. So that means that Kai'Ma are what the Dunmer were before they were the Dunmer. So this is I'm talking about, well, she was born in the first era. So Skyrim is the fourth era. But she was born in the first era, kind of near the end of it. So she witnessed Red Mounting, what happened there. So what happened was the Dwemer decided to use 3 weapons on the heart of Lorkhan, and this pissed off Azora, the Daedric Prince of Twilight, and she decided to curse the Kai'Ma into the Dunmer, and that's kind of how the Dunmer came to be from there. So she lived through that, and that was how she became Dunmer. But yeah, so she had. This is really important for her storyline because she actually had a Dwemer lover that she was really, really close to. They weren't actually like together, but yeah. So when I can't pronounce her name because Dwemer names aren't really pronounceable, but it's like Nahendris. And she would call her Net. So yeah. So when she disappeared, that really put Kyrith into in an eternal despair. She just could not deal with anything. So she decided to give herself to Mephala, the Daedric Prince of Plots and Murder and Sex as well. And she lived in Mephala's realm, Spiral Skyne, for thousands of years. And I like to keep it open of what happened to her there because I don't want it, because that's going to be like, that's where time just got so messed up for her, and nothing made any sense for her when she was inside that realm. But it also, Mephala taught her a lot of stuff when she was in that realm. And because obviously she was from House Telvanni anyway, she knew a lot about magic, and growing up as a Dunmer anyway, or Kai'Ma really. But yeah, because I didn't say how she came to be. She was estranged from House Telvanni. She was from a farm in Voss on Vardenfell, or Reserdane, what it used to be called. And her farm burnt down, and then that's how she was taken to House Telvanni. And she was given to her uncle Fathis, who was of House Telvanni. But yeah. And I've tried to like implement her into like all the games, but it's a bit weird when there's like 4 eras and the 2 areas before that, but she wasn't in. So she ended up being she's literally like 4,000 years old. So I like to kind of make it so when I play in any of the other games, that's not really canon, but it's like a different version of her. Like, because she wasn't in the Oblivion Crisis or anything, and she wasn't in the game Oblivion. So when I play as her in Oblivion, it's meant to be like a different timeline, I guess. But yeah.
Well, I mean, there's nothing wrong with that because I mean, Elder Scrolls canon is all over the place.
Oh yeah, yeah. When you
it's almost like any other mythology. There's plenty of inconsistencies and such. So,
that's a cop-out excuse for Dragon Breaks. It didn't happen, but it happened in another timeline. That's what dragon breaks basically are, when time breaks itself.
Dragon breaks?
Yeah, so dragon breaks are when the dragon breaks. So when Alduin, the god of time, breaks time itself.
Okay.
Yeah, so trying to think, wait, so there's a lot of notable dragon breaks. I don't know if the whole entire game, Elder Scrolls Online, is meant to be a dragon break or not. It's when like time winds itself. So it didn't happen, but it did, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You see that a lot in especially like comic books, with like Marvel and DC. I mean, they always have separate timelines and separate universes
Yeah.
and such. All right. So we discussed Elder Scrolls, which I'm sure you always love doing.
Yeah,
is there
Chronic's right there. Dragon Break is the excuse for all of the second game's endings, because there's multiple endings. So yeah, all of those endings happened, and they were all because of a dragon break.
all right. So let's move on to another area of influence that you quite enjoy. You got any favorite animes?
Yeah, so I don't actually watch anime as often as I used to. This is probably downright literally because I'm lazy and I can't sit through series, because I just don't have the patience for series anymore for some reason. I prefer to watch a film or something. But yeah, I would say my favorite animes are definitely Black Rock Shooter. That's my number one favorite. And then I would say Higurashi as well. Yeah, I like Death Note. Death Note's really good. Can't really think of any off the top of my head, but it's always going to be fantasy or horror anime by far, obviously. So yeah.
Yeah, I've got a soft spot for horror anime, especially Higurashi.
Yeah. I like another as well, but I prefer the novels way more. The novels are just incredible. They are written so well. I would definitely recommend them. Yeah, the anime is good, but it just doesn't even touch the level of the novels. But yeah.
Now, we did talk a lot about fantasy, but you did say you had a soft spot for horror anime. Do you have a soft spot for the horror genre as a whole, or are
Oh,
you
absolutely,
more
yeah.
exclusively fantasy?
No, I would say fantasy and horror are my two favorite genres by far. I when it comes to books, I only really read horror books. I don't really enjoy fantasy books that much, but horror books are just amazing. And I love horror films as well. I just I have a lot of favorite horror films. Like it's probably hard to list off the top of my head my favorite ones. Like Martyrs, Silence of the Lambs, things like that. Yeah, I think my favorite type of horror film is probably psychological horrors, the ones that are terrifying because, oh, what if that's true? What if the world is like that, sort of thing? Not like, because I'm just so sick of jump scares. They're so boring. They're so cheap. I think if they're done properly, they can be good, and if it's not like constantly as well. But something that really, truly terrifies you to the core, that's a good horror.
Yeah, it's the thing is like when you're looking at a jump scare, it's the easiest way to get a reaction, and
Yeah.
good horror should stick with you long after you've finished reading or watching whatever it is you're indulging in.
Yeah. Like there was a horror film I watched that's really stuck to me. It's not like a supernatural one. I can't actually remember what it's called, but it's this very British film about Omen might know it actually. It's this very British film about like a pack of kids, and they like slowly torture and kill this couple that go camping, and it's just so horrifying to watch because those kids looks like any other British gang here, and what they do to them is just horrifying. Like they set him on fire, and then they end up going home, and the family of the kids are like that as well, and it was just like so scary to watch. But yeah.
Yeah, it's if you're able to relate the scares to real situations as much as possible, that can be incredibly impactful. But at the same time, sometimes when you get a little too realistic with the with the scares, it can sometimes get a little ridiculous. An example I've got is, I can't remember the name of this film, but there's a film that's based on a true story of these campers in Canada who are being stalked by a black bear.
Yeah.
But the thing is, I know it's going to sound awful, but I was laughing at it the entire time because literally everything the couple did contributed to the bear ended up mauling the one dude. And all I'm thinking at the end of it is, you get what you deserve, dude. I mean, this is the whole reason the bear is stalking them is because he stubbed his toe really bad and he put his bloody socks outside of the tent.
Oh, right. Yeah.
So the bear's been smelling his socks the entire
Mm-hmm.
time. And it's like, dude, that's like the number one rule of camping, is that you don't, you don't attract the animals. And anyways, that was a tangent on my part.
Yeah.
But
I think the most recent film I've watched that did a incredible job at suspense was what was it called? I just watched it on Netflix. I can't think of the name off the top of my head. It's a very new one. Well, I think the second one's coming out soon. Is it called Quiet Place? That was it. Yeah. That, like, I've seen the scene of it where she's like trying to get away from the monsters, and then she's literally giving birth at the time, and you can't make a sound because that's the only way that they can hear you. So her trying to give birth while not making a sound, and her family are out, and she's walking down these stairs, and she stands on a nail, and it's oh my god, what, like, that scene is just, oh my god, I don't know how, she's an incredible actress as well. And the design, the creature designs are so good as well, and they just the concept and the idea of these monsters that can't see you but they can hear you, so their entire world has changed where they have to live to be quiet. It's just so good. I loved it so much.
I haven't seen it, but I'm gonna have to look into that because that sounds just terrifying.
Yeah, I think the second one was meant to come out, but it was delayed, obviously because of the virus. But
Corona-chan.
Yeah.
All right. How about we start getting to some questions? And ladies and gentlemen, remember to leave a question in the chat if you would like to ask Katie any questions. And I actually just found out how to put the questions on screen. So I'm going to start. I'm going to do that.
Cool.
Let me go through and see where they began. And let's see here. There we go.
Oh, A3.
That's cool.
Okay. Yeah. So do I work in A3?
Here, let me read them off just in case, because some people just might be listening, so they might not see it. But Chronic German asks, do you usually work in A3 or even bigger?
So I work by pixels now, and I work with massive canvases. I usually work I tend to start with a square, so I work by 5,000 pixels by 5,000 pixels, but I will always shrink it as I go. And I've only just trying to take into effect where I want this piece uploaded, because where I upload it, it's going to affect how it looks. So, for example, if I'm uploading it, if it's meant to be for Twitter, I need to make it landscape, otherwise it's not going to work. Or I need to have enough important areas of the piece so I can have lots of So if I use 3 images of it, then I need 2 more close-ups of a part that will be interesting to look at. Or if it's for Instagram, I'll make it square-shaped, that sort of thing. But yeah, I used to keep very specific dimensions to pieces, like make sure that everything is just that it's A for either landscape or portrait. But now I just don't bother with that really. Yeah.
Alrighty, and let's move on to the next one. We got Omen Nasai asking, "What are your thoughts on lizard folk / Argonians?"
Yeah.
I'm laughing because her character is incredibly racist.
No, Kyrith absolutely detests Argonians. She doesn't even think of them as like sentient beings. They literally are just lizards to her. But there is a little bit of a character growth with her because she thinks that about Khajiit as well, but then she ends up finding a Khajiit friend in Skyrim. So yeah, she does grow a bit from that. But me though, they're probably my second favorite species, Argonians. Lizard folk as well, because they're just so cool. Like the idea of them is just so awesome. Like Argonians in the Elder Scrolls are really cool. I haven't really looked into their backstory too much, but they are really cool. Like their whole thing with the hist being connected.
I was just about to say that.
Yeah, being able to change their genders whenever they want, because genders to them are just a life state, so they can be whatever they want. They're just so cool. They really are, and they're absolutely like the lore is just crazy. I love them. But yeah, and they look really cool, and I love lizards. So yeah, what's not to like?
All right, and Chronic German asks, "What's your favorite race lore-wise?"
Yeah, well, that's Dunmer by far, easily Dunmer. Yeah, I quite like Bosmer as well. They're really cool. I don't know if you meant specifically for the Elder Scrolls, because Bosmer are really interesting, the whole cannibalism thing.
I was unaware of that.
Oh yeah, it's seen as in their society a way of honoring someone. So in war or something, if you eat them, it means you're honoring them. And I think because they're not allowed to eat parts of like the trees and the plants and things, because it has a life. Like that's probably seen as how we see cannibalism, is them eating plants from them. So they do eat vegetables and stuff, but it's not from where they live in their home. Yeah, it's really cool.
All right, and from Omen Nasai, "What region would you like to see in the future Elder Scrolls game?"
Yeah, that's a good question actually. I would be happy with anything as long as it's not Skyrim again, because now that I think of it, Skyrim is probably my least favorite region. Black Marsh should be really, really cool because
Yeah, that's my pick too.
yeah, but also I don't know how much of the Black Marsh is like because I know a lot of it is poisonous to other races, so I don't know how that would work. I don't know how they would get that to work.
Well,
But
perhaps include it with regions of other countries in the Elder Scrolls as well.
No, I think I like the idea that they just focus on one region of Tamriel. I really like how they do that. I think that's cool because it gets to show off that race, how they live and things like that. That's
If
why
I'm
I
not
think.
mistaken, the upcoming Elder Scrolls game is going to be in half of one country and half of another.
Well, we don't know that for sure yet. Yeah, I personally think it's High Rock, but I'm not really sure, to be honest, because that would be quite cool because that's very European inspired. But yeah, from what we saw, it was 2 places, I think. But well, we don't know anything, to be honest. And they might completely have it completely different to that trailer. Like it might even be Valenwood or something. Who knows? Because is it Hammerfell that's got like a, I don't know. I think it was elsewhere, and it's got an area like the trailer, and you wouldn't even think about it or something like that. I don't know. I remember seeing loads of videos about the trailer and someone saying this could literally be anywhere because there's lots of places that have something like this. So who knows?
It will be interesting because it's something that I've noticed is that, like, remember when Skyrim was announced and like all the music was like epic and
Yeah.
grand and very and heavy on the chorus. I,
They don't have the same.
it's something kind of interesting this time around. It's like it doesn't like their
Yeah.
advertisement does not seem to be hyping it up as much as they did before. And I'm not saying it's a
Yeah.
bad thing. I'm just saying it's a little strange.
That's because it's not by Jeremy Soule. Jeremy Soule did all of the music for the Elder Scrolls, and for some reason he wasn't contracted for this one, which is really bizarre and kind of disheartening as well. Like, I don't think he's even going to be in this game, because he even put on Twitter something about I'm not working with them. They haven't come to me. I don't know if that's changed or anything, but yeah. So I don't know
Well,
what's
Todd
going on with
Howard,
that.
you better get your shit together. That's all
Yeah,
I'm going to say.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
sorry. Gambit 612 asks, are there any books / authors you like that don't get enough credit or aren't seen as much as others?
Yeah, so I'm actually quite new to reading books because I have dyslexia, and for years and years I just like wouldn't I just couldn't read books. But the last couple years I've been trying really, really hard to try harder novels and things. For like a while I read a lot of children books because they were easier for me to read. So now I'm starting on more difficult novels. So I would say I don't know actually. Um, mm, I would say that I can't remember what their name is. The writer that did the Another novels, he's not very well known. And he is how he writes is just incredible. It really is. So yeah, maybe check out him. And I would have said that about the guy who wrote a series of unfortunate events and novels. I can't remember his real name. I know it's not Lemony Snicket because that's not his actual name. But I tried to read his other books, and I tried to read the books about Lemony Snicket and I hated them. But a series of unfortunate event novels are so good. Oh, I love them so much.
They're a good way to get kids into tragedy and I would even
Absolutely.
argue the horror area too, because you can definitely sense Lemony Snicket's influence from Edgar Allan Poe in his
Yeah.
books.
Oh yeah, definitely. It's very I don't really know the word for it, but because it's just about bleakness and despair, but it's funny, and it's just so it doesn't it you know that you're reading about something really depressing and horrible, but you're enjoying it and you don't feel depressed reading it. So yeah.
Yeah, he also has like Poe has quite a bit of like dark humor in there, and you can see that start to tweak into like Lemony Snicket stuff.
Yeah, definitely.
And I mean, the influence of Poe is obvious. I mean, what it you got Mr. Poe, and then his aren't his children's named Edgar and Allan?
I don't know, are they?
Yeah,
I
I
know that
think
he
they are.
married his cousin or something, didn't he?
Oh, Edgar Allan Poe.
Mm.
um, oh no, Edgar Allan Poe. He married Virginia, and she was an underage cousin of his. But that area of Poe is really difficult to know for sure because there's a lot of conflicting information because some people I think were trying to be very very dramatic about it, while as some were trying to just get to the cold hard facts. So
Yeah.
you kind of have to be a historian to get to the bottom of that.
We know a lot about. Probably could talk about this for ages, to be honest. Separating the art for the artist and all that.
Yeah.
You can definitely say that about H.P. Lovecraft and stuff, but you can still enjoy his stuff. It was a different time then, wasn't it? It's just
Yeah,
not something that bothers me, to be honest.
no, it's definitely not. I mean, yeah, like you said, separate art from the artist because I find the idea of judging somebody who lived in a different era by modern standards to
Ridiculous.
be quite,
Mm.
you know, stupid.
Mm.
Okay, let's move on to Chronic German. Can you think of a jump scare that's actually executed well?
Oh, you know what came to my mind straight away? Um, I don't think it's really a jump scare. I don't know. That no, it's probably not a jump scare, but you know the part in Misery when um yeah, just that part I think just like literally just made my skin just jump off of me. Um I don't know. I think there's a lot in Grave Encounters. Um or the Shining is very interesting with the jump scares because they tell you that they're coming and you're gonna prepare for it, but then it's there and it's still. Oh, I don't know. Yeah, I'm not sure really. Hmm. Or Lake Mungo actually. Now that I think about it, because I would say my favorite type of horror movie is found footage horrors because there's something really like deeply unsettling about them, and it's literally like a needle in a haystack with found footage horror because there's so much and it's really hard to find something decent with found footage stuff. But Lake Mungo is definitely up there. I think for
Yeah, as
that.
much as I love horror, I'll say that's the drawback it has. You got to shift through a
Mm,
lot of shit to find the good stuff.
yeah, definitely.
Uh Keithy Boy 1602 says, "What's your favorite Elder Scrolls game cuz you draw a lot of scrolls art?"
Yeah, well, definitely Morrowind for sure. Um, and I do like Elder Scrolls Online. I got bored of it pretty easily, but it was fun. And I, I spent a lot of time moaning about Skyrim once I realized how good Morrowind was. But to be fair, if we're still talking about a game that came out in 2000 and was it 2011? I think so. It's got to be a fucking good game if we're still talking about it today. So yeah, I love Skyrim as well.
That is true, but I could do without the amount of remakes.
Yeah, definitely, yeah.
Or I'm sorry, re-releases.
Yeah. No, yeah,
Because
no.
because you saw that thing. I think I sent it to you. It's like the PS5 isn't even out yet, and there's already on like Amazon France. There's
Yeah,
pre-orders
that's
for
crazy.
Skyrim on the PS5,
Yeah.
and it came out on the PS3. Oh man, I mean, but you can't really blame Todd. I mean, people buy it.
They do. They do indeed. I think I've literally only ever bought Skyrim once, to be honest. Yeah, I've only bought it once, when it came out, the day it came out. So can't. It's
Yeah,
not really.
I bought it. I bought it twice. It was Xbox 360 when it first came out, and then when I got a PS4, there was um there was some content that was going to be that I didn't have on the 360 that I could get on one disc with the PS4. So I figured I would just get that.
Mm,
And also, the PS4 now allows mods, so now I can mod Skyrim, and it makes the gameplay experience a little better.
yeah. And then there was Skyrim Special Edition as well. Um, I got that. Did you get that free? Because that was free for
Yeah,
me. Yeah.
that was Skyrim Special Edition was the one on the PS4.
Yeah.
I think that they even they released it on Xbox One, PC, and the Nintendo Switch. And I
Mm,
think you can mod all of them now.
yeah. Oh, yeah. I guess so. Hmm.
However, even with the re-releases, they still have those amazing Bethesda moments. Like, do you remember the recording Keith made?
No, what one was that?
Oh man! So Keith recorded his experience on the Switch, and he went to go talk to Parthenax after one of the quests he finished,
Party
and
snacks.
Parthenax in the middle of his talk literally just started flying into the sky,
Yeah.
and he kept going higher and higher and higher to the point where you can't. He's not even visible on screen
Yeah,
yet.
I
Somehow
would.
he's still
Yeah,
talking to you.
I would too if the Blades were hunting me down. You know. No, I think an Elder Scrolls game would not be the same if it didn't have its glitches. Honestly, at this point, I didn't want any of them removed. It was because another thing as well, like so many bugs became a part of my like storytelling for the game, like the Dark Brotherhood initiates, the characters you get at the end.
Yeah.
I didn't know what the word initiate was when I was a kid when I played it. Well, I guess I wasn't that young. And the followers, I think it was just her, because I've never had this many of the followers. They get so close to you, and when they're following you, and they just stand in your headspace all the time. So I ended up calling her Intimate, and that just stuck as her name because she was just so close to me all the time. And like I would literally just turn around, she would just jump scare me all the time, always in my face. But yeah.
Yeah, I personally, I absolutely adore the Dark Brotherhood in Skyrim.
Mm.
I mean, the one in Oblivion was good too, but there's just it's so cool that you start off on the Dark Brotherhood doing like just like assassinating just the low lives of Skyrim, and then you work your way all the way up to assassinating the Emperor.
Yeah,
It's
it's
but
cool.
but now there's people saying that apparently there's information in Skyrim that we weren't well aware of that suggests that we actually didn't assassinate the Emperor.
Well, the first time you didn't, which is weird because obviously you attempt to poison him first, and then when you actually go and fight him, that's the real emperor. Um, so I don't know what I think about that really. I do like the theory that he called his own hit on him, sorry, which is really interesting because when you go to talk to him, he's so chill. He's like a really nice guy, and he's
Yeah,
like, "Yeah,
he seems like he
you're
already made peace with himself.
yeah." He's like, "Oh yeah, you're here to kill me." Everyone hates him. He's absolutely despised because of the uh treaty he made with the Thalmor.
Yeah, the white gold contract.
Yeah, White Gold Concordat. Yeah, everyone hates him. And like, I guess it's a matter of perspective if you blame him or anything. But he's a really cool guy, and I felt pretty bad about killing him. So
Here's the part that a lot of people are divided on. It's like, do you honor his last wish
uh,
to
I
kill the
can't.
one
Yeah,
who put the hit on him?
I can't remember if I did it or not because I know when I originally set out to do it, and I went there and I did kill him, but I got caught, and then I think I reloaded and then just didn't bother with it. So I don't know if I actually did kill him or not.
Yeah,
But yeah.
to me, it depended on which character I was playing with because, like, with my main character, the Argonian one,
Mm,
since since even though that he's an assassin and stuff, he still tries. He kind of works on his own moral code, and so
mm,
he tries to help out people who are less fortunate. So he figured that it would be rude to not
yeah.
respect the emperor's last wish.
But that as well, is that the same Amand Mortier? Because it's a completely different model. I think they tried to make it look like he'd like gotten really stressed about getting a hit on the emperor, so they made his hair darker, and he was all like dirty. His face was dirty, but it's a completely different model, and it also kind of looks like he's taller as well. So I don't know if that was a mess up from Bethesda or if that is a completely different person. That whole thing was really weird. I don't understand that at all. Like, I don't know if you know about it, because at first I didn't even realize it was a different model when I first saw him. Um, but yeah, so I don't know what's going on with that.
It's sometimes hard to understand Bethesda. I mean their games. I mean not the company. And it's
Mm,
because it's an interesting mixture of mistakes, cut content,
mhm.
and the actual content.
Yeah, there's so much cut content. It's insane.
Yeah,
Insane.
especially with their I mean the Civil War aspect of Skyrim had been completely neutered.
Yeah,
It was supposed to be like almost like you were playing chess while playing Skyrim.
I guess I can understand why they did that. I mean, there's a multiple of reasons. Like from a just the game point of view in general, like I guess it would be quite taxing on the game and it would make things harder to run. There's that whole thing, you know, the mod Open Cities for Skyrim, where there's just no loading screens. Like that demolished my game. So I can't think of what something like the Civil War's idea was, what that would be like in the game, because I just don't think the game doesn't run very well anyway. Like if it didn't hold up very well. So, and then from a lore point of view, I think I would say that Nords are so stupid. Like they're generally the dumbest race, and I hate them. They're my least favorite race by far because they're boring and they're dumb, and they're cool. Magic is crazy in the Elder Scrolls games. It is so overpowered what you can do with magic. And Nords just won't tap into that. They're just terrified of magic. Well, they're not. I don't think they're scared of it. They just don't understand. They just think it's stupid, and you're a milk drinker if you use magic. But magic is insane in the games. There's sort of things that you can do. Like I was reading about someone using destruction magic to melt someone's eyeballs, and stuff like that. And this is all lore friendly, and it's in the game. Like because I was watching a video on destruction magic alone, and it is insane what you can do with magic. But no, the Nords are not interested in any of that. They're not interested in any kind of intellectual anything really. But yeah.
No, it's interesting that you say that because the Nords aren't really one of my favorite races either.
Mm.
I think that I put them just above Bretons. I really don't care much for Bretons. I think they're just kind of, I don't know. It's like Bretons are supposed to be like human elf hybrids, and I think that
it's Bretons
it comes across as just like that's a cool concept, and then it's like it feels like they don't do much with it.
Yeah, I wish that there was more
go
on
ahead,
them.
go ahead.
I wish there was more on Bretons because they are really interesting when you think about the fact that if for example, a female Dunmer and a male Redguard had a child, that child would be Dunmer, but it would have probably like
I remember this. It's it's like it's the race of the mother, but it's the mind and personality of the father.
Attributes, magical stats, and things like that of the father. I don't know about personality, but looks I think do factor in. But mainly it will take the race of the mother. That's the main thing. But with Bretons, their whole lore is. I mean, I haven't looked too much in their lore, to be honest, because it's just not that interesting to me. But their whole lore is just they were created from interbreeding with elves and men, and that itself is quite cool. But you need more for a race to be interesting, I think.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's just it feels like lost opportunity.
Yeah,
and that's why that's why they're on the bottom of my list. But what I was trying to say earlier with regarding the Nords, it's like it's interesting though that the Nords they're not they don't put too much faith in like magic and intelligence. Yet
no, they don't.
The Nords that actually do are some of the most powerful figures in all of Tamriel.
And
possibly. It's like
yeah.
It's interesting because it's like you look at how far the Nords get when they do like go to the College of Winterhold or become like intellectuals and stuff, and yet they just completely they see all the success they do, and the majority of Nords go nah.
Yeah.
I mean, like look at the Greybeards. They dedicate all their understanding to, I mean, all their time and efforts to intellectualism and philosophy, and all the Nords respect them. But you know, like if they were to ask, "Hey, do you want to, learn the way of the voice?" All the Nords would probably go, "Nah."
Yeah. it's not as honourable as an axe or whatever. Skyrim doesn't even belong to the Nords anyway.
Uh-oh.
They stole it. They came from Atmora. They stole it.
They stole it, but isn't the race they stole it from, aren't they extinct?
Well, it was from the Snow Elves. I don't know if someone had it before them, to be honest.
Yeah,
I think it was the Snow Elves, yeah.
Yeah, I think it was the Snow Elves, but the Snow Elves became the Falmer.
Yeah.
And not trying to be rude to a Falmer here, but you guys are not going to return to your prior state. So
there's one more Snow Elf left. Oh wait, did he die at the end of? What was it in?
I can't remember if he died or not in the end of that DLC.
Yeah, I can't remember actually. I'm not sure.
Oh, and Keithy boy, I think that he was talking about your comment on the Nords, and he says bold words for someone in battle axe distance.
Yeah, nice.
Well, here's the thing, Keith. It's not going to matter if we could just blast you away with an ice bolt, okay?
Or melt your eyeballs out with destruction magic.
Oh, Keith said there were two and one died.
Yeah, were they like siblings or something? I can't really remember.
Yeah, they were siblings, I believe.
Yeah,
milk drinkers, says Keith.
Did he not die at the end? The second one? I can't remember. I can't even remember what.
I don't remember either.
I can't remember.
I don't know. I'm actually going through another playthrough of Skyrim right now, actually. So I'll let you know when I get to that point.
Yeah.
And Keith gasped, and Omen went, "Oh, I don't know what that's about."
Right.
Oh, okay. They said,
yeah.
Keith
I
says
remember now.
that they were brothers, but we killed one of them.
Yeah, I remember killing him. Oh, he's alive. I don't remember him living.
Hey, Keith and Omen, can you tell me what your reactions were to? Because I'm kind of curious.
I think it's a little bit delayed then.
All right, and we won't go on for too much longer. But let's give everybody one last chance to give you a batch of questions, and then we can go on from there. But we can just continue nerding out until then.
Yeah, sounds good.
Oh, and Omen says, "Oh, in regards to Skyrim doesn't belong to the Nords anyway." Yeah, that's the thing.
You stole it. You stole it yourselves.
But here's the thing, though.
And now
they stole it, but the thing is, a lot of them that are alive there now, they were born there, and they weren't even the first generation that was born there. They're many generations in.
Yeah.
And since the Snow Elves are all gone, it's like, Skyrim, in the sense of it being conquered, it kind of now belongs to the Nords.
Well,
however, you get into the whole argument with the whole war to begin with, because it's like, you got some people on the Imperial side who believe it belongs to the Nords, yet they don't think that that the Nords should be superior to any other race.
It's such a men, as in the species. It's such a men thing. Like the men in the Elder Scrolls, they're just obsessed with conquering. Like the Imperials as well. I don't really like Imperials either, but I do. Their lore interests me a lot because of the Empire and things. Like I could talk about Alicia as well and her marriage to a Minotaur, things like that. Alessa or whatever her name is. But they just conquer everything. Just like leave people alone. Like they fucked up Morrowind. They conquered Morrowind. Like why? Why do you need everywhere? It's the same as real life. I think they're men rather than mer in the Elder Scrolls are very much that whole with humans' obsession with conquering and war and crap like that. But yeah.
Yeah, well, that's never going to be something that that we grow out of, unfortunately. No. But it's I gotta say, I am not a fan of the Imperials as a race very much either. However, I will say I really like the changes that Skyrim did to them. Like they don't come off as much. They don't come off as just being bland, because like remember back with like Oblivion and Morrowind, it's like it's almost like it was hard to distinguish between a Breton, an Imperial, and a Nord.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
it's like Skyrim actually had a really cool idea for the Imperials, and it's um like they made them like ethnicity wise, they made them look a lot more like Spaniards,
Yeah, I
and
see what you
it's
mean.
just it's kind of cool to see like a bunch of the dark haired and like
Hmm.
the more like bronzed kind
Yeah,
of
you
skin
can tell the
tone and
difference
like
now.
facial
Yeah,
features and such.
yeah. I really like that actually. I think that is really good. Um, I don't know too much about the Empire and um the Septum line and things like that, but I do find that quite interesting. It's very much I think that originally wasn't interested in it because it's not very fantasy. It's very realistic. The Septon line and that is very realistic. But then when you look into like characters like Queen Baranzaya and things like that, it is really interesting. Like obviously because she's Dunmer, I would enjoy. I like her lore, um, but there's so much happened though. It's really cool.
I'm putting that on screen because I'm in 100% agreement.
No, you guys have a massive swamp with walking trees. Is
Hey,
that not enough?
you know what,
Yeah.
Katie? But we took on Oblivion.
Well, yeah, that's true. You did um literally fix the Oblivion crisis, but yeah.
Like Mehrunes Dagon went, nope.
Yeah, we weren't having any of that. He's going back.
It's funny that that happened because it's like out of it, very rarely can like um a race of people in the Elder Scrolls actually stand up to as powerful as a Daedric god
Oh
as
yeah, yeah,
Mehrunes
definitely.
Dagon.
Yeah. I don't. I literally don't like Dagon Otto. I find him really boring.
Yeah,
Um,
he's just kind of Mehrunes Dagon is just kind of
yeah,
like isn't he just like the god like the Daedric Prince of Destruction? It's like that's
yeah, that's
literally
it.
all
Really. Yeah.
he seeks out.
He's very important to the lore of Skyrim, I think, because his whole thing is because that can go back to Anu and Padme, how chaos and stasis is needed for the world to be for balance. So I mean for the Dunmer, he is the House of Troubles. So they kind of look at him like the four pillars of life that are needed, that are not positive, but they help us grow and they teach us lessons, and they keep the world in balance. So I think he's important as he is. But like people that make OCs that are just like that only worship him, I just think like there's so much more you can do with that. It's just a bit boring, but he is necessary though.
Yeah, personally, my favorite Daedric princes are Molag Bal and I really like Hermaeus Mora. I don't
Yeah.
like how he was portrayed in Skyrim though.
Why not? How come?
I think I'm talking physically. I'm not talking like his lore and story.
No, but that's what's
I
so
just
good
think
about him though.
no, I'm just saying like I think that they just kind of copied Shogoth, and
Mm,
I think I would have appreciated maybe another detail that was something that wasn't just a copy of of Lovecraft.
mm. I don't know. I quite like it because he doesn't have a physical form, and that's what's interesting about him. He doesn't care about how he looks to mortals. Like he doesn't even have all of the. If you go into the files, they all have like human variants that they show themselves as. Um, so Zora will show herself as a Dunmer female usually. Mephala shows herself as a Dunmer female, sometimes male. As well. And then Sanguine shows himself, I think, as a Dremora, but Hermaeus Mora will just be a glob of tentacles. He does not care. He's not interested. This like to he's not. He doesn't care. He just is what he is, and I really like that about him. But yeah. But I think they could have made it a bit more. Maybe yeah, they could have made it a bit more interesting. But yeah.
I mean, like keep the eyes and tentacles, no problem, because that's a cool image. I'm just saying that it's just they just seem to go the extra mile with making each thing unique, so that it's like it's unmistakable to the Elder Scrolls.
Mm.
And it's just I just think that I just think Hermes more it's too on the nose with the Shogoth inspiration.
Hmm.
Like I don't know, maybe have it so it's like maybe the tentacles are holding something, or perhaps throw in throw in like another feature besides the eyes and the tentacles, like have something else with like what comes out of that abyss.
Yeah.
But
I mean, a lot of the times he is just a black smoke. Sometimes just a bit of black smoke, which is
yeah, if
kind
I'm
of
not
interesting.
mistaken, that's what he was before the DLC for Skyrim.
Yeah,
Like
I think so.
yeah, if I'm not
I didn't.
mistaken, he was just like a blue cloud when you would like talk to him when you were getting the all of the elf blood.
Hmm.
If
In Oblivion, he kind of looks like a crab, I think, or something like that. Doesn't he? He's got like pincers or something, doesn't he?
ooh, I forgot what he looks like in Oblivion.
I don't know. Let me check. Yeah, yeah, he looks like a crab, and he's got tentacles as well. Oh, he's pretty cool in
Here,
Oh,
do you want to screen share that?
yeah. I'm looking on this. Hold on, I need to turn my tablet back on. Yeah.
And we'll be moving on to the last batch of questions soon, guys. So be sure to put them in the chat.
Yeah.
And
So
just
this.
and Katie, just let me know when you're ready for me to share.
Yeah. Ready.
Okay.
Oh, that. I don't know. That might be Morrowind, actually. Yeah.
Yeah, those graphics look more like Morrowind.
Was he even in Oblivion? I can't remember.
Oh, is that maybe just his statue?
Hmm. Um. Yeah, that's him in Daggerfall. That's cool. I like that.
Oh, I really like that. That is
Mhm.
cool.
That's him in the Elder Scrolls Online, though. That is. Oh, let's go back. That is really cool. I do like that a lot.
I haven't seen the design online.
I can.
Think you could zoom in a little bit? There we go. Thank you.
Yeah,
Oh, wow.
that's cool though.
I kind of like how it almost looks like he's sitting on a throne.
Mm.
It is badass.
I like Daggerfall a lot. I think that's really cool.
Oh man, I
I'm
want them
not
to
sure
add the
what the
claws back in.
yeah
You see,
what the claws are.
that's the little bit that just adding that to it I think that gives them a much more unique look.
I don't know why he would have claws, but that's kind of cool.
Oh,
Yeah.
like you said, he doesn't care. So
Mm.
okay. So yeah, I like Molag Bal, then I like Hermaeus Mora, and then I'm starting to the one that's really starting to grow on me is Nocturnal.
Mm. She was the first Daedric prince, I think. So she's considered like the oldest and the most powerful, but she's so shrouded in mystery. She's very interesting. I like her a lot. I didn't used to have much interest in her, but now I really do like her. She's really cool.
And I will
Nightingales are so cool as well.
And of course, we can't talk Daedric princes without mentioning the one that probably most people are aware of because of the Oblivion DLC.
Which one? Oh,
Sheogorath.
Sheogorath. Yeah. Um.
I call him the Daedric prince of memes.
Yeah. I think he's a bit overrated. He's fun. Yeah. I mean,
Oh,
cheese and
he's
all.
nowhere near my favorite, but I will say he does get me to laugh.
Yeah, he is fun, but I don't. Yeah, he's not really a favorite of mine by far.
I think that he was though the biggest one to I think that he's the one that most people are familiar with. Like I
Yeah, I
said,
think
just
so.
because of Oblivion DLC.
I think because he's so quirky and he seems like he's a good Daedric prince, and he seems like he's fun and you know the most laid back, but that is not true. Like, he's definitely just as evil as all of the princes, to be honest.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's like you look into Sheogorath's lore, and this guy is not somebody to um to look up to.
I wouldn't want anything to do with him.
Oh yeah,
Scary.
I mean, he even says it himself. He's like, so am I going to be your friend, or am I gonna rip out your entrails?
Yeah, literally.
And it's like,
And the best part is he'll change his mind just randomly. Just whatever time of the what day of the week it is. Is it a Wednesday? I might just pull someone's eyeballs out. But
yeah, and that's the thing. It's like there is no way you can predict what he's going to do.
yeah,
He's literally the wild card incarnate.
Mm-hmm. Which is very fun. But yeah, he's not my favorite though.
Okay, guys, I'm going to start looking for the questions. Go ahead and throw them in because this will be the last opportunity to ask Katie questions.
There was
Here, let's get. Oh God, the Argonians are coming. Close the gates from Chronic. I like what Keith says. Oblivion gates open. Argonians, hey, free real estate.
Yeah.
And then Omen went, that field with no Mother Hydra for Father Dagon.
Oh, did you know his sister is Mephala though?
Oh,
no, sorry. I think in Amora, Hermaeus Mora is Mephala's brother.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Those two are my favorites. So
there we go. Keithy Boy 1602 says, what is your favorite game of all time?
We missed a question. Yeah.
Chronic we did?
Yeah, Chronic asked about the Dwemer.
Oh, my bad, Chronic. Okay. What do you think of the Dwemer lore and their technology?
I could probably talk about the Dwemer for ages as well because, I don't know if I can call them my second favorite race because they're not. Are they really extinct though? That's the question. I don't know what happened to them. I would say I like the idea of not having a concluded opinion because there's not enough information about what happened to them. But I like the idea that they may be zero sums or achieve Kim, something like that. Anyway.
Yeah, I hope that they don't ever concretely answer the aspect of the Dwemer. I kind of like having them be very mysterious and open-ended.
The fact that there is a Dwemer that you can speak to, and he's alive and well, I don't know, he probably not still alive in Skyrim times, but he was alive in Morrowind. I think that gives us a lot of information about what could have happened to them. And he's really cool. I like him a lot, so yeah. But exactly. The fat Dwemer in Morrowind. Yagran Barum. He's awesome. I like him a lot. He has Corpus, so he probably did die. I don't know. But the reason he didn't disappear was because he was in a realm of oblivion. I don't think he tells us which one specifically. But yeah, I think I'm not sure what could have happened to them really.
That would be interesting insight into the Dwemer by knowing which plane of oblivion they would prefer.
I think they don't care for the Daedric princes. They don't worship them. They don't revere them. They accept that they're gods and accept that they're powerful, but they don't think that they're worth worshipping. So I think to them, all of the realms, the Oblivion realms, are probably just information to them. So yeah, that's probably how they look at.
Well, they'd probably really like Apocrypha then.
Yeah.
Apocrypha and I forgot the name. The plane of Molag Bal. Those are my two picks.
I really like. I don't know. Probably Moon Shadow is really cool. Azora's Realm and Spiral Skyne. Spiral Skyne is terrifying, but it's also really pretty. But I think because Mephala is my favorite anyway, I like the Spiral Skyne a lot. I like the colored rooms too, but yeah, probably Moon Shadow is probably my favorite. Not sure. Although Molag Bal, yeah, Harbor, Molag Bal's realm is really cool.
Oh, Cold
Cold
Harbor. That's
Harbor,
it.
yeah, Cold Harbor is really cool, and that's I think probably the realm that we see the most in all of the games, possibly.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
isn't it like the because Molag Bal is the main antagonist of the Elder Scrolls Online, and I think, if
yeah.
not mistaken, a lot of the end fight takes place in Cold Harbor.
Well, you start in Cold Harbor, so the game starts in Cold Harbor because I think you were killed by you were killed by a necromancer. I think it might have been Manimarco who killed you. Yeah, I think it was Manimarco who killed you. So your soul went to Cold Harbor, and then something about you get a new body or something like that, and then you get out of Cold Harbor. Something to that. I can't really remember, but yeah.
I can't remember either. I might pick it up when it like gets super super cheap, but
It's a good game. I like it. I think it's like any other MMO. It's only good if you pay for it. The DLC is fun. I don't enjoy it without a subscription because I just don't think it's worth anything. Like the things you pay for are better than the base game.
yeah, and that's the thing. It's just it's hard for me to want to get involved if I have to constantly pay for it. But that's just a
Yeah.
personal opinion of mine.
Mm.
And Keithy says the cheese to die for. Wait, scratch that. No cheese. Whoever voices Sheogorath,
Mm.
that dude just must have a blast.
Yeah, he voices a lot of the NPCs though, because I mean, like, well, Skyrim itself probably has about 10 voice actors, but yeah.
I also really like the dude who voices Lucien Lechance.
Yeah, he's very good. I love Lucy and LeChance.
Oh, Lucien, my bad.
Yeah.
And I absolutely, I think I about peed my pants when I was playing the Dark Brotherhood quest in the Skyrim for the first time, and you got that ability to summon him, and
Yeah.
they got the voice actor to come back for him.
Yeah.
That was just, oh, that was so
Great.
good. And I loved the references that he would make when he would summon him to what happened in Oblivion.
Mm.
And
Yeah,
he
he has a lot of dialogue.
and I love that he gives you hints about things that are going to happen going forward.
Mm.
And and one of the big things that really that I thought was so cool was like when I was gonna go see Cicero, I
Mhm.
wanted to kill that dude so bad.
Yeah,
And
I
I'm
wanted
like,
to get him first time as well.
and I was like, oh man, and I was getting so excited. So I summoned Lucy, and I'm like, you're gonna kill him with me. And what's the first thing he says? The Night Mother does not wish for him to
Yeah,
die.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So
And
good.
I'm like,
Wow.
what?
Okay.
It's like, but this doesn't make sense. He attacked the Brotherhood, and I mean, he betrayed the entire organization. Why wouldn't she want him to die? It's just, it
Mm.
was so, it, oh man, I like it. It's clever writing when it's like, it makes you, hesitant on, because you're all pumped and ready to go, and then just that little comment by Lucian just throws a
Yeah,
monkey wrench into everything you thought was going on.
yeah. Just to do what he says. And if the Night Mother wishes it as well.
Oh yeah,
Do
I
you,
mean,
do you know who the Night Mother is?
what isn't she the quote unquote like wife of Sithis?
The corpses, yeah.
Okay.
But she's not. She's Mafala. There's a book that talks about it. Um, and when the Night Mother speaks to you, it's just Mafala possessing the corpse um, of the woman who killed all of her children in the name of Sithis.
Just
Um,
just the lore of the Dark Brotherhood is just so fascinating.
yeah. Um, so
And
yeah,
Sithis himself is just one of my favorite figures in the Elder Scrolls.
yeah,
Just, I mean, it's like he is literally non-existent, yet yet he still makes his presence known. It's just
Mhm.
it's a complete mind boggle.
I mean, I like
Trying-
the saying, do you worship the hunger of your stomach? Because that is what it is to worship Sithis. It's to worship void and nothing,
Yeah,
and
it's
emptiness, and like,
nihilists unite.
but yeah,
Okay.
it's great.
Um, Keith said the guy who voices Shia Gorath also voices the standard Imperial Guards in Oblivion.
Yeah, yeah.
If I'm not mistaken, now I think about it, I think that he even voices Lucien Lachance.
Does he? Does he? I don't know about that. I'm not sure.
I mean, we'll have to look into it.
Mm.
But oh god, I love Lucien's voice.
Mm.
uh, well, we've been going on for a little bit now, and I'm not seeing any new questions. If anybody wants to plug a question in while we're wrapping up, I'll get to it.
Oh,
But
did I
let's.
answer this one from
I'm
Keefe?
sorry. What was that?
Did I answer this one from Keefe?
Oh no, I don't think you did. So go ahead.
Okay, so my favorite game of all time. I can't choose one. That's probably impossible. But I have a top couple of them. Other than Morrowind, I would definitely say Rune Factory Frontier, because that, without a shadow of a doubt, probably influenced all of my art as well. Yeah, the Rune Factory series probably are some of my favorite games, and Harvest Moon as well, but in particular Rune Factory Frontier. I love Red Dead Redemption 2 as well, and Fire Emblem Three Houses. Yeah, they're probably my favorite.
Oh yeah, you were going on for ages about Fire Emblem on Twitter.
Yeah, yeah, I love Fire Emblem. I didn't really like the old games though. I've only played, I think, two of the old games, and I really didn't like them. Like, I'm not really a big fan of like tactical. I'm not really sure what the genre is called. Like that kind of game. But they changed it up so much in Three Houses that I enjoyed it. Like that combat genre type. I'm not really sure what it's called, but yeah, I really struggle with them because you have to think like 10 spaces ahead, and I don't have the brain capacity for that. Like, I'm just like, yeah, I gotta throw my sword around and hope for the best.
All right, and then we got Chronic German saying news on Rune Factory 5 when?
I know it was meant to come out this year, and we don't have any information for it. That's just weird. I don't know. I guess because of the pandemic, but you'd think that they would tell us something. Because I've been watching their Twitter page like a hawk, and I've been watching the website as well. Because on the Japanese website, they sometimes put little hints on the page, like in the background and things, but nothing, absolutely nothing. So I don't know. Hopefully, we'll get something soon.
It unfortunately seems to be becoming the norm even before coronavirus hit in, is that
Mhm.
games just get delayed so many times.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm really starting to feel bad for the people who really want Cyberpunk.
Oh, that and Animal Crossing were my two biggest games I was looking forward to this year. Um, yeah, I don't know how I could probably talk about just how I feel about Animal Crossing, and it's not as positive as you'd think. But I'm really hoping that Cyberpunk will be good. And to be honest, like, I hope they take as much time as they need for it because it's a massive game. And I don't want it to, I don't think that they'll bring it out like half finished or anything. I think they genuinely love the devs love that game. So I just hope that they take the time they need, for it.
I'm hoping so too, because lots of people are put in a lot of attention to that and are really dying to get their hands on it.
Mm,
But
yeah.
I'm a little concerned because I don't know if you heard, but there's some rumors going around that they've really gutted the game in order to get it out soon.
I saw like a list of that. I didn't look into it too much, but then other people were saying that it's not true and none of these were even confirmed. Like, I think like the first thing on the list turned out to be true, and that was like wall running, and I was like, I can live without wall running. That's fine. That seems like a really big thing for to that will be quite hard on the system anyway, so I can live without that. But yeah, because then another thing was like room customization, but I don't think that was ever really confirmed anyway. As much as I would love that, I don't think it was that was confirmed to be a thing anyway. So I don't know.
Yeah, it was. I mean, that's the problem with the internet and information on it. It's like you can never really confirm nor deny it.
Mm,
Honestly, you're not going to know what is true until you actually get the product in your hand.
yeah, I think it will be really good either way, and I'm really looking forward to it.
All right. Well, I think that we should start wrapping it up.
Yeah.
So, why don't you tell people where they can find you?
Yeah. So on Twitter it's Skeletal and then is it underscore? Yeah, it's an underscore and then well, Skeletal_K because my username was stolen. On Instagram it's just SkeletalK. Yeah. That's it really. I mean I have a website and that as well, which I think will be linked. But yeah.
And before we sign off, let's go ahead and share your commission info.
Okay.
If you've got if you have like a page explaining all your prices, we can bring it up if you would like, or you can just give the information on prices and how to contact you and such.
I can bring up the page. One sec.
And let me just say, as someone who has commissioned her a few times, you guys will definitely enjoy working with her.
Yep. So this is my commission page.
Okay. Let me know when you're ready for me to share it.
Ready.
Okay.
On my website here. So I do portraits, half bodies, and then full bodies. And I also do like character reference sheets, chibi style, and then these coffee sketches as well. But yeah, and then you can order it on this page too. But it's better to contact me beforehand because I've had some problems with the Google Forms where one of my recent clients they put in for a commission and I didn't see it for a while because Google didn't tell me about it. So yeah, hope they forgive me on that one.
And how do you prefer to be contacted when someone wants to get a commission?
Twitter is probably best, but you can email me as well. My email address is on this website here. So yeah, that works too.
Alrighty. Well, Katie, I just want to say thank you for coming on and doing this discussion. So
thank you for having me.
Yeah, and is there any parting words that you would like to give to the listeners?
Thank you for hearing me ramble. I know that I probably might have been a pain to listen to, but thank you for hearing me ramble.
It's no, you did completely fine. Well, everybody, we're going to wrap it up here, and I hope that you all enjoyed this. Be sure to check out Katie's art, and if you want to, reach me or to check out any of her links, just look into the YouTube description, and I left some links down there.
Thank you very much, guys.
Yep. So we will all see you next time. Goodbye.
Bye.